Good afternoon, Oak Grove. Happy Thursday. Welcome to this week's installment of Pastor's Midweek content series here on our church's YouTube channel, where I just pop in to say hello to you in the middle of the week and keep the church on our consciousness the other 6.5 days of the week outside of Sunday morning, because that's so important for us to do. So welcome. Thank you for spending a few minutes with me here today. What are we going to talk about this week? Well, there's all sorts of heavy things that we could be talking about. Right now, our denomination, the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America, is embroiled with some things that involve national politics, and that's a very tricky thing for me to wade into. There's abundant information that is available online to provide some perspective on that. So, if you're at all in doubt or wondering about accusations that have been made by some about ministries of the Lutheran Church and government subsidies to the Lutheran Church, there's lots of info available about all those things online, and I would encourage you to educate yourself to those things. But here on these videos, I like to try to keep these things relatively lighter if I can. And so, not to say those things don't need to be addressed. They do need to be addressed. But here in the format of these videos, I like to keep things lighter if I can. So, choosing something a little on the lighter side to talk about. There's a football game going on this weekend. Are you guys all ready to cheer for the Steelers in the game? Oh, wait a minute. No, they were never even remotely in contention to be in this game this year. I am, as I usually am when I'm just knocking about the house in the middle of a weekday when I don't have any pastoral visits or appointments or functions or meetings going on, wearing my Steelers gear as I usually do when I'm sitting around the house. I've never shared with you, Julie and I own a whole bunch of different terrible towels, but this is the most important one of them to me. This is my alpha towel. This one has been in battle with me to Heinz Field multiple times. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Acrisure Stadium. That'll never sound right to me. I've had this one with me as we've gone to games many times before, so this one has seen a lot of combat. Our team, unfortunately, was never in contention whatsoever to be in that game this year, and so we will continue to wallow in our misery as we look forward to the rebuilding of the team. What feels like many years from now, it feels like the Steelers are a million miles away from being in the game. I don't know who you're all rooting for in the Super Bowl. I'm rooting for good food, and I'm rooting for enjoying watching the Puppy Bowl at halftime. I haven't watched the Super Bowl halftime show in years, but I'll just enjoy the game in general principle. But, as I sit and I think about the way that human beings respond to sporting events, it makes me think about, discussions that we had in one of our worship classes while I was in seminary. When we gather together for a sporting event, it has a way of taking people from lots of different walks of life and bringing them all together under a common cause. You can have people from a variety of different social backgrounds, political backgrounds, ideological backgrounds, that on Sunday afternoons, when they come together at Acrisure Stadium, or when they come together in a Steelers bar and they all put their black and gold on, all of a sudden we are all one, and we are united under a common cause. We are united by common symbols that unite us. We are united by a common name. We are united by a common identity that is bigger than ourselves. And these symbols are powerful, and they have meaning for us. And I even think vividly of what it feels like during the fourth quarter at Acrisure Stadium when the crowd begins singing Renegade together. When they play Renegade over the PA system and the crowd all begins singing along with the song. And then, of course, usually it's only the women that can keep up with the really high parts of the song. And during that moment, you see a really neat snapshot of humanity being united by these common symbols that take all of us and bring us together as one. Well, gee, that sounds an awful lot like our faith, doesn't it? We talked in one of my worship classes in seminary about the way that the symbols and the rituals and the songs of our faith accomplish the same thing. We come together on Sunday morning to sing the same songs that our ancestors have sung for generations before us. We come together to engage in the same rituals and to perform the same ceremonies and to tell the same stories that our ancestors have performed for generations. And it has a really neat unifying effect in that way, too. That's the way it's supposed to work. Now, see, the problem is we bring our own personal biases and we bring our own presuppositions into worship with us. We are all human and we can't help but bring the outside world into the church with us. We get to know the people that we sit next to during church a lot better than we get to know the strangers that are sitting next to us at Acrisure Stadium or at the sports bar where we go to watch the Steeler game. We get to know the people in the pew next to us a lot better. And so as we get to know other real people a lot better, it's what brings us into conflict sometimes that, okay, you inevitably sit next to that person long enough that eventually you hear them say something political or something ideological that sounds stupid to you, and then it starts to build that conflict that then divides us. But that's not the way it's supposed to function. If only we were able to unite together as the people of God across all denominations and all faiths in the same way that sports fans are able to come together on Sunday afternoons for their favorite team. We are all on Team Jesus. That's really the only team that should matter to us in our lives. That is the team color that we wear. That is the team. I'm not really sure what the color for Team Jesus would be. It's a metaphor. Would it be red for Christ's blood? Would it be white to represent Christ's purity? I'm not sure what the color would be, but whatever the color for Team Jesus is, that's our color. That is the team that really encapsulates our lives. That is really the only team that should matter to us. And if only we could capture that spirit that we have whenever we come together at the stadium or at the sports bar or at the viewing party in our homes where we invite a bunch of our friends over to watch the game, if only we could keep that spirit going in life all the time, and especially in the church among the people of God. And so just think of the goodwill that it brings among a group of strangers who otherwise don't know each other, but on Sunday afternoon, they're able to sing Renegade together and wave their towels under a common cause. That's the way it should be for us as people of God. That is what worship is designed to do for us. That's what we do on Sunday morning. That is us coming together to unite and profess our allegiance once again to this team that has made all the difference in our lives. This is the team that we tend to think of as one of the teams that we identify with this life and in this world, but it's this one that to whom our ultimate allegiance and loyalty belongs. And so that's just a perspective to think about. The next time we're getting together to root for our favorite sports team, where do our priorities lie in life? And if only we could carry on the same spirit of community and camaraderie that we experience when we root for this team as we do when we come together to root for that team. So that's just some perspective on sports and the effect of sports on human living and what it might have to teach us about theology, about the church, about living as the people of God. So that's what I've got for you, Oak Grove, this week. I just wanted to say something a little bit lighter. There's heavier stuff that we could talk about. There's always heavy stuff that we could talk about, but I like to try to keep our spiritual perspective in light of things that are a little bit, more joyful for us to consider from our everyday lives as we think about how we're going to be God's people in the world and examples that resonate with us. So that's what I've got for you. I will see you all in worship on Sunday morning. Thank you. Take care. Have a good week, and God bless.